On a stormy night in 1599, as thunder rolled across London's darkened skies, a moment of theatrical history was about to unfold. The newly constructed Globe Theatre stood proudly on the south bank of the Thames, its wooden structure a testament to the ambition of the Lord Chamberlain's men acting company. The air was thick with anticipation as a restless crowd gathered, their excitement palpable despite the threatening weather. Behind the scenes, a man with a pointed beard and penetrating gaze watched anxiously. William Shakespeare, then 35 years old, had staked everything on this bold venture. The premiere of Henry V would mark not just the opening of a new theater, but the beginning of a new chapter in English dramatic history. The famous words, "Oh, for a muse of fire," would soon echo through the wooden O of the globe, captivating audiences and setting the stage for centuries of theatrical excellence. Shakespeare's journey to this moment had been extraordinary. From his humble beginnings as the son of a glove maker in Stratford-upon-Avon, he had risen to become London's most promising playwright. The Globe Theatre represented more than just a building. It was the physical manifestation of his company's success and his personal artistic vision. As a shareholder in both the theatre and the acting company, Shakespeare had transformed himself from a provincial tradesman's son into a respected London businessman and artist. The air inside the theatre crackled with energy as the groundlings crowded the yard, while wealthier patrons found their seats in the galleries above. None could have known they were witnessing the dawn of an unprecedented era in theatrical history. From this stage would come some of the greatest works of dramatic literature: Hamlet, King Lear, Macbeth, and many more masterpieces that would influence world literature for the next 4 centuries. That stormy evening in 1599 marked the beginning of the Globe's golden age, where Shakespeare's words would first take flight, carried on the voices of some of London's finest actors. His immortal line, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players," would prove prophetic, as his works would go on to be performed on countless stages across the globe, transcending time, culture, and language to speak to the very essence of human nature. The remarkable transformation of this Warwickshire merchant's son into the world's most influential literary voice remains one of history's most compelling stories. Through his mastery of language, deep understanding of human nature, and extraordinary ability to weave universal themes into compelling narratives, Shakespeare would create a legacy that continues to resonate with audiences and readers worldwide, proving that true genius knows no boundaries of birth or circumstance. In the spring of 1564, as the Black Death still haunted Elizabethan England, William Shakespeare was born into a world of contrasts. His father, John Shakespeare, was a prosperous merchant and glove maker in the bustling market town of Stratford-upon-Avon. His mother, Mary Arden, came from a wealthy landowning family, bringing with her a connection to the rural gentry. This dual heritage of urban commerce and landed prosperity would later infuse Shakespeare's works with a unique understanding of both social spheres. John Shakespeare's prominent position in Stratford's civic life initially provided young William with a comfortable upbringing. He served as alderman and eventually rose to the position of high bailiff, equivalent to the town's mayor. However, the family's fortunes would take a dramatic turn during William's teenage years, as his father faced mounting financial difficulties. This reversal of fortune would later emerge as a recurring theme in Shakespeare's plays, where characters often grapple with sudden changes in social status and fortune. Life took a significant turn for the young Shakespeare in 1582, when at the age of 18, he married Anne Hathaway, a woman 8 years his senior. Their marriage was hastened by Anne's pregnancy, and their first child, Susanna, was born 6 months after the wedding. This was followed by twins, Hamlet and Judith, in 1585. The pressures of supporting a young family at such an early age may have contributed to Shakespeare's subsequent decisions and ambitions. The period between 1585 and 1592 represents one of the most intriguing mysteries in Shakespeare's biography. These lost years have been the subject of countless theories and speculations. Some scholars suggest he might have worked as a schoolmaster, while others propose he joined a traveling theater company. What is certain is that during this time, he somehow acquired the theatrical and literary knowledge that would later make him famous. When Shakespeare emerges from historical obscurity in 1592, he appears in London as a promising actor and playwright. His arrival in the capital coincides with a scathing critique from the established playwright Robert Greene, who dismissively refers to him as an upstart crow. This backhanded compliment suggests that Shakespeare had already achieved enough success to provoke jealousy among his contemporaries. This transformation from a small-town Glover's son to London's preeminent dramatist represents one of history's most remarkable artistic journeys. The hardships of his early life, his father's financial troubles, his hasty marriage, the responsibilities of young parenthood, and the mysterious years of development, all contributed to shaping the keen observer of human nature who would create some of literature's most enduring characters. Shakespeare's ability to draw from both his provincial roots and his urban experiences enabled him to create characters of unprecedented psychological depth and authenticity. Whether portraying kings or clowns, lovers or villains, his understanding of human nature transcended class boundaries, allowing him to speak to audiences across the social spectrum. This intimate knowledge of both rural and urban life, combined with his experience of both prosperity and hardship, gave his characters a complexity and authenticity that continues to resonate with audiences today. The development of Shakespeare as a character himself, from ambitious young man to successful playwright and businessman, from country boy to London celebrity, mirrors many of the transformative journeys undertaken by his fictional characters. His personal experience of social mobility, family dynamics, and the vicissitudes of fortune would provide the emotional foundation for his greatest works, making him not just a creator of characters, but a keen chronicler of the human experience in all its complexity. 16th century London pulsated with life, a city of stark contrasts and sensory overload. The dense air carried a complex symphony of scents. Freshly baked bread wafting from the numerous bakeries, the pungent odor of the Thames River at low tide, the smoke from countless chimneys, and the earthy aromas of livestock and humanity concentrated within the city walls. This was Shakespeare's London, a metropolis of approximately 200,000 souls crammed into a space that would seem remarkably small by modern standards. In Southwark, across the Thames from the city proper, stood the Globe Theatre among its neighboring entertainment venues. This South Bank district existed as a vibrant, sometimes notorious entertainment zone, technically outside London's jurisdiction. The streets teemed with life from dawn to dusk. Street vendors' cries echoed through narrow alleys, advertising meat pies, ale, and other simple fare. Sailors fresh from long voyages, merchants haggling over deals, craftsmen heading to their workshops, and apprentices running errands created a constant flow of humanity through the muddy lanes. The daily rhythm of theatrical life followed the sun's natural arc. Performances invariably began at 2 in the afternoon, when daylight flooded through the theater's open roof, illuminating both stage and audience. The play would proceed without intermission, lasting approximately 2 hours, as no artificial lighting was available. This timing allowed the entertainment to conclude before darkness fell, and the dangerous nighttime streets claimed the city. The Globe Theatre itself stood as a remarkable piece of architecture, a wooden O rising 3 stories high. Its structure reflected the social hierarchy of Elizabethan society. The poorest spectators, known as groundlings, paid 1 penny to stand in the yard directly in front of the stage, exposed to the elements. These common folk formed the most vocal and responsive part of the audience, their reactions helping to shape the energy of each performance. The more affluent patrons occupied the covered galleries, paying additional sums for the privilege of seated viewing protected from rain and sun. The most expensive seats, costing up to 6 pence, were located in the Lord's rooms, directly above and beside the stage. From these privileged positions, wealthy merchants and nobles could not only watch the play, but also be seen by the rest of the audience, making theater attendance as much about social display as entertainment. Theater companies operated in fierce competition with other forms of entertainment. Bear-baiting arenas, where bears fought against dogs for the crowd's amusement, stood near the playhouses. The infamous Rose Theatre, the Swan, and other venues all vied for the same audience, leading to intense rivalry and innovation in theatrical presentations. A unique aspect of Elizabethan theatre was the all-male casting tradition. Young boys with unbroken voices, known as boy players, performed all-female roles. These youths underwent rigorous training to master feminine movement, speech, and mannerisms. Their performances were so convincing that foreign visitors often expressed amazement at their skill in portraying women. The theatrical experience extended beyond the stage itself. Vendors circulated through the crowd selling nuts, fruit, and ale. The atmosphere combined elements of a modern sporting event and an artistic performance. Audiences participated actively, cheering heroes, booing villains, and occasionally becoming so involved that authorities worried about public disorder. This vibrant theatrical world operated under constant threat of closure. Puritan authorities viewed playhouses as dens of vice and potential sources of plague transmission. When infection rates rose in the city, theaters were among the first establishments ordered to close. The companies would then tour the provinces, spreading London's theatrical culture throughout England. The Thames itself played a crucial role in this theatrical ecosystem. Many playgoers arrived by wherry, small boats that served as London's water taxis. The river teemed with these craft, their operators calling out for passengers, adding to the cacophony of city life. This waterway traffic created a unique pre-show experience, as audiences approached the theater district by water, watching the wooden playhouses grow larger as they neared the South Bank. This was the immersive world that nurtured Shakespeare's genius, a London of extreme contrasts, where culture and commerce, refinement and rowdiness, poverty and luxury coexisted in close proximity, providing rich material for the plays that would immortalize both the playwright and his age. Shakespeare's ascent to theatrical prominence unfolded in three distinct phases, each marked by evolving artistic maturity and growing social status. The young Shakespeare arrived in London's theatrical world during a time of creative ferment. His initial works demonstrated both his ambitious scope and his willingness to experiment with established forms. He began with history plays, including the Henry VI trilogy and Richard III, which captured the public's imagination with their dramatic portrayal of England's turbulent past. These works demonstrated his ability to transform historical chronicles into compelling drama. During this period, he also produced early comedies such as The Comedy of Errors and The Two Gentlemen of Verona, revealing his gift for wordplay and complex plot construction. The patronage of Henry Wriothesley, the Earl of Southampton, proved crucial during these formative years. Southampton's support provided both financial security and social connections, enabling Shakespeare to focus on his craft. His dedication of the poems Venus and Adonis and The Rape of Lucrece to Southampton suggests a close relationship between patron and poet. His association with the Lord Chamberlain's Men, formed in 1594, marked a turning point in his career. This company, under the leadership of James Burbage, would become London's premier theatrical troupe, providing Shakespeare with a stable platform for his work as both actor and playwright. This period represents Shakespeare's artistic pinnacle, during which he produced his most profound and accomplished works. The construction of the Globe Theatre in 1599 gave his company a permanent home in Shakespeare, as a shareholder, a stable financial stake in its success. The theatre's motto, "All the world's a stage," reflected both his artistic philosophy and commercial ambition. During these years, Shakespeare created his greatest tragedies: Hamlet, exploring the depths of human consciousness; Othello, examining jealousy and racial prejudice; King Lear, probing the relationships between power, love, and madness; and Macbeth, investigating ambition and guilt. These works displayed unprecedented psychological depth and poetic sophistication. The death of Queen Elizabeth I in 1603 and the succession of James I brought new opportunities. The Lord Chamberlain's Men became the King's Men, enjoying royal patronage and performing regularly at court. This period also saw the creation of great comedies like Twelfth Night and As You Like It, which balanced their humor with deeper explorations of identity and love. Shakespeare's late career witnessed a shift toward more experimental and contemplative works. His romantic plays of this period, including The Winter's Tale and The Tempest, combined elements of tragedy and comedy with themes of redemption and reconciliation. These works often featured supernatural elements and complex father-daughter relationships, suggesting both artistic maturity and personal reflection. Gradually, Shakespeare began reducing his London commitments, spending more time in Stratford-upon-Avon. He purchased New Place, one of the town's largest houses, establishing himself as a prominent local citizen. His final plays, including Henry VIII and The Two Noble Kinsmen, were likely collaborative efforts with younger playwrights, particularly John Fletcher, suggesting a graceful transition toward retirement. His last years saw him increasingly involved in local affairs in Stratford, though he maintained his London theatrical connections. His final testament, famously leaving his second-best bed to his wife Anne, has generated centuries of speculation about his personal life and relationships. Throughout these three periods, Shakespeare's development followed a clear trajectory. From ambitious newcomer to acknowledged master, from actor-playwright to theatrical entrepreneur, from London sensation to national institution. His career arc demonstrated not only artistic growth, but also astute business acumen and social navigation. The systematic progression from histories and comedies, through the great tragedies to the final romances, reveals an artist continuously expanding his range, while responding to changing theatrical tastes and social conditions. This structured evolution of Shakespeare's career provides a framework for understanding both his artistic development and his remarkable ability to maintain popular appeal while pursuing increasingly complex dramatic forms. His journey from provincial outsider to Britain's preeminent dramatist represents one of literature's most remarkable success stories, combining artistic genius with practical business sense and social adaptability. The documentary evidence of Shakespeare's life, while sometimes frustratingly sparse, provides crucial anchors for understanding his biography and career trajectory. Each surviving document offers a window into different aspects of his personal and professional life, helping scholars piece together the story of literature's most celebrated figure. The earliest official document concerning Shakespeare is his baptismal record at Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-upon-Avon, dated April 26, 1564. Written in Latin, it reads Gulielmus Filius Johannes Shakespeare, marking the first documented moment of his existence. While his exact birth date remains unknown, tradition places it on April 23rd, following the common practice of baptism occurring 3 days after birth. This record establishes not only his arrival in the world, but also confirms his father's name and the family's connection to Stratford. The Worcester marriage license, dated November 28, 1582, documents Shakespeare's union with Anne Hathaway. This record is particularly intriguing as it contains 2 versions of the bride's name, Anne Hathaway and Agnes Hathaway, Agnes being a common variant of and in Elizabethan England. The document also reveals the hasty nature of the marriage, as it shows a special dispensation was granted to allow the banns to be read only once instead of the customary 3 times. This acceleration, combined with the birth of their daughter Susanna 6 months later, suggests the circumstances of their marriage. The 1597 purchase of New Place in Stratford represents one of the most significant documentary proofs of Shakespeare's financial success. The deed of purchase shows he paid £60 for what was then the second largest house in Stratford. This substantial investment demonstrates his rise from actor-playwright to wealthy property owner. Additional property records show his purchase of 107 acres of land in 1602 and a gatehouse near the Blackfriars Theatre in London in 1613, documenting his growing wealth and status. Various business records illuminate Shakespeare's professional life in London. The Stationer's Register entries for his plays and poems provide publication dates and evidence of his work's commercial success. Theatre documents, including payment records from the court for performances by the Lord Chamberlain's men, later the King's men, demonstrate his company's prominence. Tax records from both London and Stratford show his financial dealings and places of residence. Shakespeare appears in several legal documents, including a 1596 application for a coat of arms for his father, which reveals his family's social ambitions. Court records show his involvement in various business disputes and property transactions, painting a picture of an astute businessman as well as a creative genius. Shakespeare's will, signed in March 1616, provides fascinating insights into his final days and personal relationships. The famous bequest of his second-best bed to his wife and has generated endless speculation about their marriage. The document also reveals his careful attention to the disposition of his property and his concern for his daughter's inheritance. The 3-page will, with its shaky signature, suggests he was already ill when signing it. Published in 1623, 7 years after Shakespeare's death, the first folio represents the most important document for preserving his dramatic works. Compiled by his fellow actors John Hemmings and Henry Condell, this collection contains 36 plays, 18 of which had never been printed before. The folio includes a portrait of Shakespeare, commendatory verses, and a catalogue of the principal actors who performed his plays. Its preface provides valuable information about Shakespeare's working methods and his reputation among his contemporaries. Contemporary references to Shakespeare and other writers' works provide additional documentation. Robert Greene's famous attack in Groatsworth of Wit, 1592, calling Shakespeare an upstart crow, provides early evidence of his emerging prominence. Ben Jonson's tributes, both in the first folio and elsewhere, offer contemporary assessment of his talents. Recent archaeological discoveries at the sites of the theatre and the Curtain Playhouses in London have provided physical evidence of the spaces where Shakespeare's plays were performed. Excavations at New Place in Stratford have revealed details about his domestic life and social status. The documentary record, while incomplete, provides crucial evidence for understanding Shakespeare's life and career. Each piece of evidence, from official records to contemporary references, adds to our understanding of how a Glover's son from Stratford became the world's most celebrated playwright. These documents reveal not just the biographical facts of his life, but also his social mobility, business acumen, and the cultural context in which he worked. While many questions about Shakespeare's life remain unanswered, these surviving records provide solid historical anchors for our understanding of his remarkable journey. Shakespeare's influence on global culture, language, and artistic expression represents an unprecedented phenomenon in literary history. His impact continues to resonate across centuries, languages, and media, shaping how we think, speak, and tell stories. Shakespeare's contribution to the English language stands as one of his most remarkable achievements. His creation of over 1,700 common words through combination, repurposing, and invention demonstrates unparalleled linguistic creativity. Words we use daily such as assassination, countless, swagger, and uncomfortable first appeared in his works. He transformed nouns into verbs, combined existing words into new formations, and added prefixes and suffixes to create new meanings. Beyond individual words, Shakespeare coined countless phrases that have become deeply embedded in everyday speech. Break the ice, wild goose chase, heart of gold, in a pickle, and wear your heart on your sleeve are just a few examples. His ability to capture complex human experiences in memorable phrases has enriched the expressive capabilities of English and, through translation, many other languages. Shakespeare revolutionized character development in literature by creating complex, psychologically nuanced individuals rather than stock types. His characters exhibit internal contradictions, psychological depth, and moral ambiguity that feel startlingly modern. Hamlet's philosophical questioning, Lady Macbeth's guilt-ridden descent into madness, and Iago's manipulative malevolence established new standards for depicting human psychology in literature. This psychological realism influenced countless writers and transformed how authors approach character development. His technique of using soliloquies to reveal characters' inner thoughts became a standard literary device, anticipating modern stream-of-consciousness narrative techniques by centuries. Shakespeare's works have been translated into more than 100 languages, from Arabic to Zulu, making him perhaps the most translated secular author in history. These translations have not merely reproduced his words, but have adapted his themes and characters to local contexts, demonstrating the universal relevance of his insights into human nature. In theater, his influence extends far beyond the English-speaking world. Japanese no adaptations of Macbeth, Bollywood versions of Romeo and Juliet, and African interpretations of Julius Caesar demonstrate how his works transcend cultural boundaries. Each culture finds in Shakespeare's plays mirrors for its own concerns and conflicts. Shakespeare's impact on modern media is profound and pervasive. His works have inspired thousands of films, from direct adaptations to loose reinterpretations. Directors from Akira Kurosawa to Kenneth Branagh have found new ways to bring his visions to the screen. Television series frequently draw on Shakespearean plots and themes, while video games and digital media continue to find new ways to interpret his works. Shakespeare remains central to educational curricula worldwide. His works serve as foundational texts for teaching literature, drama, and language arts. Academic scholarship on Shakespeare constitutes its own industry, with countless books, articles, and conferences dedicated to analyzing his works from every conceivable angle. His influence on theatrical practice cannot be overstated. Shakespeare's staging techniques, use of blank verse, mixing of comedy and tragedy, and integration of multiple plot lines established conventions that continue to influence contemporary theater. The structure of his 5-act plays became a standard dramatic format that influenced theater well into the 20th century. Even in the corporate world, Shakespeare's influence is felt. His insights into leadership, power, and human behavior are frequently cited in business literature and leadership training. Characters like Henry V provide models for leadership studies, while plays like Julius Caesar offer lessons in organizational politics. Shakespeare's works continue to provide frameworks for understanding and discussing social and political issues. His explorations of power, justice, gender roles, and racial prejudice remain relevant to contemporary debates. Productions of his plays frequently adapt these themes to address current social concerns. His influence extends into all creative arts. Composers have created operas and symphonic works based on his plays. Visual artists have depicted his scenes and characters throughout history. Poets and novelists continue to draw inspiration from his themes and techniques. Shakespeare's works are increasingly used in therapeutic contexts. Drama therapy programs use his plays to help individuals explore emotional issues, while some psychiatrists and psychologists reference his character studies to understand human behavior patterns. In the digital age, Shakespeare's works have adapted to new technologies. Virtual reality productions, interactive digital editions, and AI-powered analysis tools demonstrate how his works continue to evolve with technological advancement. This lasting influence across so many domains of human activity demonstrates Shakespeare's unique position in global culture. His works continue to provide both a mirror for contemporary concerns and a lens through which to examine universal human experiences. The breadth and depth of his impact suggests that, far from diminishing with time, his relevance continues to grow as new generations find new ways to interpret and apply his insights. The Elizabethan era, 1558 to 1603, represents one of the most dynamic and transformative periods in English history, characterized by unprecedented cultural flowering, economic expansion, and social change. This period provided the fertile ground from which Shakespeare's genius would emerge. England's transformation into a maritime and cultural powerhouse during the Elizabethan era reshaped its global and domestic identity. From defeating the Spanish Armada to the flourishing of Renaissance culture, the period laid the groundwork for a modern understanding of national power, cultural innovation, and social transformation. Exploring these developments highlights the interplay of maritime dominance, cultural renaissance, religious tensions, and Shakespeare's enduring legacy. The defeat of the Spanish Armada in 1588 symbolized England's ascent to naval dominance, enabling the establishment of the East India Company in 1600 and fostering new trade networks. Advances in shipbuilding and exploration of the New World catalyzed England's rise as a colonial and economic power. Privateering and naval warfare not only secured wealth, but also bolstered a sense of national pride. This era of maritime achievement permeated cultural expressions, influencing Shakespeare's works, which often echoed themes of ambition, exploration, and identity. The English Renaissance brought a delayed yet vibrant infusion of classical learning, reflected in poetry, drama, and architectural innovation. Humanist philosophy and advancements in music and visual arts blended native traditions with continental influences, creating a uniquely English cultural milieu. Increased literacy among the urban middle class fueled intellectual exchange, with printed books and translated texts making classical knowledge widely accessible. Shakespeare thrived in this dynamic environment, integrating Renaissance ideals into his plays, which explored universal human experiences through a distinctly English lens. Religious divisions defined Elizabethan society, with Protestantism's establishment countered by Catholic resistance and persecution. The Anglican via media compromise sought to balance these tensions, but left lingering conflicts. Literature and drama, including Shakespeare's works, often encoded religious themes, navigating censorship while reflecting the era's complex dynamics. His nuanced handling of morality, power, and identity resonated in a society grappling with spiritual and political uncertainty. The emergence of permanent playhouses and professional acting companies revolutionized Elizabethan entertainment. The theater became a melting pot for social classes, offering a platform to explore contemporary issues through dramatic representation. Shakespeare capitalized on this cultural innovation, blending classical traditions with popular elements to create works that appealed to diverse audiences. His plays not only entertained, but also interrogated societal structures, reflecting the tensions and aspirations of his time. London's rapid growth as a commercial hub created a thriving urban middle class, whose wealth and education supported cultural endeavors. This group became a key audience for the burgeoning theatrical scene, influencing themes and narratives that resonated with their experiences. Economic transformations, including inflation, new industries, and banking evolution, provided both opportunities and challenges, which were often mirrored in Shakespeare's portrayals of social mobility and human ambition. The Elizabethan era witnessed significant scientific and intellectual progress. Empirical observation, advancements in navigation, and medical discoveries reflected a growing curiosity about the natural world. Shakespeare's works incorporated these new understandings, often blending traditional beliefs with emerging scientific concepts, demonstrating the era's intellectual vitality. A strong centralized monarchy under Elizabeth I provided stability, while a developing bureaucracy and complex court politics shaped governance. Themes of power, leadership, and political intrigue in Shakespeare's histories and tragedies reflect the intricate balance between authority and rebellion that characterized the period. Although society remained hierarchical, increased social mobility and evolving education patterns offered new paths to advancement. Urban migration and changing gender roles introduced both opportunities and anxieties, themes that Shakespeare explored with psychological depth and universal relevance. Shakespeare's works, born from this era of transformation, continue to resonate by addressing timeless themes of power, love, identity, and justice. His nuanced portrayal of human nature, adaptability across cultures, and capacity to inspire critical thinking ensure his lasting impact. Modern adaptations in film, digital media, and cross-cultural productions reflect the flexibility and universality of his narratives. The Elizabethan period demonstrates the transformative power of cultural and scientific innovation when coupled with economic growth and social change. By examining this dynamic era, we gain insights into the interplay of tradition and progress, the role of art in societal transformation, and the enduring relevance of universal human experiences as captured by Shakespeare. These lessons remain vital in understanding and navigating the challenges of our own time. These elements of engagement demonstrate how Shakespeare's works continue to provide frameworks for understanding contemporary issues while adapting to new forms of expression and interpretation. The ongoing dialogue between his works and modern society ensures their continued relevance and impact across cultural and temporal boundaries. In the shadowy recesses of historical records, Shakespeare's life reveals fascinating details that add depth and intrigue to our understanding of this literary giant. The personal touches and historical mysteries surrounding his life continue to captivate scholars and enthusiasts alike. Shakespeare's signatures, preserved on legal documents, display remarkable variation, with 6 different known versions. This peculiarity has led to extensive discussions about his literacy and education. Each signature offers a unique glimpse into different periods of his life, from his marriage bond to his final will, showing evolving penmanship that may reflect his journey from provincial youth to established playwright. The deeply personal tragedy of losing his only son, Hamlet, at age 11 likely influenced his later works. This profound loss possibly echoes through plays like Hamlet, written a few years after Hamlet's death, where themes of fathers, sons, and loss weave through the narrative. The emotional depth of Shakespeare's tragedies, particularly those written after 1596, may have been shaped by this personal grief. The original Globe Theatre's history reflects the tumultuous nature of Elizabethan theatre. Built from the timbers of the theatre, which were secretly transported across the Thames during a winter night in 1598, the Globe became Shakespeare's theatrical home until its destruction by fire in 1613 during a performance of Henry VIII. A cannon effect ignited the thatched roof, leading to the theatre's rapid destruction, though remarkably no lives were lost. The modern reconstruction, completed in 1997, stands as a testament to Elizabethan architectural techniques, built using period-appropriate methods including wooden pegs, traditional lime plaster, and a thatched roof. Recent archaeological findings suggest that Shakespeare might have cultivated cannabis in his garden at New Place, Stratford. This discovery has sparked discussions about the role of herbs in Elizabethan medicine and possible influences on his creative process. However, such plants were commonly grown for their fiber and medicinal properties in Tudor England. The academic community continues to debate several aspects of Shakespeare's life and work. The authorship question, though largely dismissed by mainstream scholars, persists in popular culture. This controversy stems partly from the limited formal education records available for Shakespeare, though evidence suggests he attended the King's New School in Stratford, where he would have received a rigorous classical education. The mysterious, fair youth of Shakespeare's sonnets has generated centuries of speculation. These poems, addressed to a beautiful young man, raise questions about Elizabethan concepts of friendship, patronage, and love. The true identity of this figure remains uncertain, with candidates including Henry Wriothesley, Earl of Southampton, and William Herbert, Earl of Pembroke. Perhaps the most intriguing mystery surrounds Shakespeare's lost years between 1585 and 1592. During this period, he disappears from historical records, emerging later as an established London playwright. Various theories attempt to fill this gap, suggesting he might have worked as a schoolmaster, joined a traveling theater company, or served in a noble household. This period likely represented his crucial transformation from small-town Glover's son to sophisticated dramatist. These historical elements paint a picture of a complex figure whose personal experiences profoundly influenced his artistic output. The gaps in our knowledge, rather than diminishing Shakespeare's legacy, have enhanced his mystique, encouraging each generation to engage with his works in new ways. From the ashes of the original Globe to the enigma of his lost years, these historical details provide crucial context for understanding both the man and his enduring influence on world culture.